What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as Ridemyavatar, and today we're going to be going over LordKnightmon BT7 style. It's a very interesting deck. This deck can now spam out, and it doesn't have to contend with the Susanomons anymore that were getting spammed out too quickly against them with the Mega Digimon Fusion. So now, with the format slowed down and Ice Wall even limited and restricted, it might be great to say that LordKnightmon might be a great contender. So guys, let's dive into the video. So let's talk about it. The strengths about this deck list is ridiculous. Really strong ability to flood the board state with a bunch of rookies. You can spam it with Lucemons to recover yourself if you're falling behind, or you can spam it up with a bunch of BushiAgumons with Rush, just helping you synergize your deck in a way of keeping you fast paced and finish out the game. Raising area keeps LordKnightmon safe from the initial battle, and then you just bring them in when you're ready. And then you do have, while doing so, you can build up to Kazuchimon, which is a great another boss Digimon in this deck that either gains you memory or recovers you back up so quickly and then just swings in for multiple security checks by himself. So basically two really powerful boss Digimons working side by side. Has a very strong recovery package. Also, strong removal by minusing DP is really a good plus in this deck, because now cards that want to shut you down, you can just either side in for more removal to make them weaker, or you can just straight out kill them if you have a big enough Digimon. Then you have, it's a really mid-game explosive kind of deck that just really goes off when it does. Especially early game, it doesn't really shine as strong, but once it starts getting to mid-game, it can flood and just punish your opponent so heavily. With Ice Wall being hit to one of its major strengths in this deck is that now you don't have to worry about Ice Walls shutting you down, because that's all it took for LordKnightmon to really slow down too quickly, was that Ice Wall, Ice Wall, Ice Wall after turn, so they couldn't really swing in for that lethal. You're just getting maybe one attack in and hoping for the best, and that usually made blue a lot faster than you. Some of the deck's weaknesses are that if the deck can clear out multiple security in one turn, at least minimum 4, you're going to really struggle, because this deck likes to play at the 3 mark, and that's kind of going to be what you kind of want to be careful of. Know when to lower yourself or when to prevent death. That's kind of like one of the major weaknesses. The deck can also deck out very easily if you recover too much. There's not a lot of recovery in this deck, but especially as the game goes longer and longer and you're recovering and adding some features in, you could deck yourself out, so be cautious about that. It's very piece reliant, so if you miss too many pieces, you will probably lose the game, because if you're missing the Angewomon or just LordKnightmon itself and then the option card, you're going to be struggling to get out a lot of guys out to build a wide board. Then you have LordKnightmon not being able to swing to flood the board. If they can make it so LordKnightmon doesn't swing, you're not building that wide board presence. So keep that in mind. Or any deck that can just instantly wipe your board constantly. So you got to pay attention and maybe side in tech cards that might help against board wipes. And that's just overall really cool. Now you have LordKnightmon's core. It's surprisingly a small engine in itself. It is probably one of the smallest engines you'll see around. You'll probably see anywhere from 10 to 14 cards out of your 50 deck, and that's only like 1/3 of your deck at times. Even worst case, I mean, leaves you a lot of flexibility to change and play the deck how you want. It's just really good. And then Sideboard creates another path round that just can either make it into a full rookie style rush style board, or you're gonna go into this, you know, heavy focus on countering tech pieces against opponents, and it could really win you the game very easily. So let's go into it. Raw engine in itself, it's very small package compared to the other decks we've had talked about, but we got Upamon in here, so if you're at 3 or fewer security, trigger draw 1. We're really going to be playing in that strength of just staying at 3 the whole game, so Upamon's going to be live, and any other baby really just doesn't help in this situation, because there's just not, the other one won't draw unless you're at 5, and there's not many other ones. You could tech in minusers, but I think having the ability to draw in this deck will help you out. Pulsemon's really good because on play, if you're at 3 security, trigger draw 1, and if you are at 3 or less security, gain 1. Since we are playing at 3, we're going to be triggering the draw and gain a memory, so that's going to help you out a lot there. You're going to get pluses and value out of it. And then TK, making your security just a secondary hand because it'll set your memory to 3, which he's really good at, but he'll also be able to take a card out of that security stack that even after you mulligan might not give you the opposite hand, but now you'll have 15 cards you've gone through of your deck and you're just going to speed through it really quickly. So it's really good. And then being able to recover if you pull out a yellow card, really good. I mean, that's what you want to do. Here are some of the more known for removal package in our deck. It's not crazy huge, it's not massive, but we have Knightmon himself. So if your opponent on play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn, being able to play through LordKnightmon's skill for free, that might be able to kill off those memory chokers and stuff like that, so allowing you to gain the ability to play your options or your memory gain abilities. So keep that in mind. And it's just Knightmon's a really powerful level 5 that now you can just go into your other megas. And let's say you're falling behind, LordKnightmon swings, plays the Knightmon, pops the memory choker, then you digivolve into Kazuchimon. It recovers you to 3, you know, or even just gives you 2 memory for play cost 3. That's huge. Then Valdur arms in here, so when digivolving, activate the following effect twice. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 DP so for the turn, so you can kill off pretty much most ultimates in this game. And then on deletion, gain 3 memory. Really good. Then you also have Wyvern's Breath, so one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 15,000 for the turn. Kills off every Digimon in the game, and if they pop it in security, you're killing something heavy, so keep that in mind. Just really good minusing DP removals that just yellow takes advantage of. Let's talk about our accelerants, our memory gainers, or you know, that fun stuff here. So first off, we have Pulsemon from BT06. This card allows you to immediately get into your 3 requirement. So on play, you may trash the top card of security until there are 3 cards remaining. Gain 1 memory for every security trashed. So if you're at 5 at the beginning of the game, you'll go to 3. He comes in for 1 cost. Nasty little bugger. Pulsemon is also, while you have 3 security cards, this Digimon gains jamming. This helps out against in that yellow mirror match of yellow hybrid, allowing you to shut off their power gain that they're doing to their security that they might stack up. So now your likelihood of surviving those swings get really good. Then you have Pulsemon here, the one from BT7 himself. So when attacking, if you have 3 security cards, gain 2 memory. So just an extra gain 2 memory can mean that you're gonna play out more, get to your bigger guys again. So keep that in mind. Then you have Pulsemon. I talked about him a little bit earlier with the draw and gaining. Since we're going to be at 3, we're both going to activate it. It's just really good. Then we have Kazuchimon. So when digivolving, if you have 3 or more security, gain 2 memory. If you're at 2 or fewer security, you may recovery 1 until the end, until you have 3 cards in your security stack. So if you're at 0, he can instantly recover you 3, bringing you back into the game where you shouldn't be, but also having the ability to gain you 2 memory if you're at 3 security. So that means he'll come in for 3 costs, really beneficial. And then while you have 3 or more security, this Digimon gains security check +1. So if you can combo it in with, let's say, Pulsemon from BT06, you'll have jamming with 2 security checks, and then we'll use the option to restand him and give him another 2 security checks. So you got an OTK with him in himself. Then we have Chaos Valdur arm. So when activating the effect, we've already talked about this. He'll minus DP for removal, but if he is deleted in any way, shape, or form by just death by battle or anything, he might give you that extra 3 memory you need. So keep that in mind. Blinding Ray, one of the most broken option cards that they've ever printed. Trash the top card of your security stack, gain 2 memory. Certain cards will recover you those memory loss, but being able to gain 2 memory even if you have no security left is ridiculous. You could spam this at late game, get yourself a bunch of memory, play out after they cleared you out, and then have Kazuchimon come in, recover you back to 3, and then swing in for games, or even just get spam out Lucemons by restanding with other cards, and it gets ridiculous pretty quickly. Then we have TKs, being TK, being able to set our memory to 3. That's really it, and then allowing us to have a secondary hand. We've already discussed this, but that's really cool. Now let's talk about basically the options of the deck, or support cards as we call them. So we'll talk about it. BushiAgumon's in here for that rush on play. We can play him with LordKnightmon with an Angewomon on him. Boom, 2 BushiAgus out, and now they're swinging in for game, and especially comboing with other cards. He's also hard to be removed if they try to remove him, so keep that in mind. Then we also have Lucemon himself, so we don't really care about if there's 10 or more cards. We won't be doing it for the effect. We're doing it for the on-play recovery +1. So LordKnightmon can play Lucemon by that effect. This Digimon can only digivolve into Digimon with Lucemons in their name all turns. It's always constantly checking that, so you can only digivolve up to another Lucemon. Keep that in mind. Then you have Turuiemon being a 1-cost evolve. He's just there to turbo into LordKnightmon to help you outspeed. Then you have Piddomon. Piddomon's just a blocker in here, 1-cost blocker. He's just quick 1-cost evolve. You could easily remove him if you don't feel like blockers are enough in this format, especially with the pierce and removals and resting and all that stuff that these hybrids have. You might not see much advantage for the blocker, but just keeping a blocker in-house might help out. Then we have Bulkmon. So opponent's turn, while you have 3 or more security, this Digimon gains blocker. So they can get rid of our small blockers, but with a big blocker that is way bigger than they're expecting, can sometimes help us win us the game, especially if you put this under Kazuchimon or even LordKnightmon himself. Ooh, that's scary. Just imagine LordKnightmon just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. He's like at 20k by himself. He's gonna just block your big swing, and then boom, you're kind of screwed. So that's kind of where we sit with him, is just having our megas be these massive annoying blockers. Then we have Angewomon being, when digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security -2 until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then when attacking, if you have 3 or fewer security, which we will, you may play 1 yellow level 3 Digimon from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that means you can spam out the BushiAgus, Lucemons, Pulsemons, even just to spam out to draw, dig deeper. You're just really taking advantage of it. Angewomon's just so nasty, especially comboed with LordKnightmon or even Kazuchimon. You could just constantly just play out. Then we have Boutmon. So Boutmon is opponent's turn. When an opponent's Digimon attacks a player, if they have 3 or more security, unsuspend this Digimon. So what could be really nasty is if we give Bulkmon and Boutmon under a LordKnightmon, he could be restanding and just block and tank if we need him to. So if they're trying to go out, this card is not once per turn, so this is constantly restanding. So if we keep the blocker alive every single time, LordKnightmon's just going to keep blocking every time they try. We'll lose 1 security. Then we have LordKnightmon himself. So yes, it's a support card. I would classify it, but it's really not a support card. It's just one of the spots I wanted to talk about him in. So when attacking, you may play a yellow level 3 Digimon card or a yellow Digimon card with warrior in its type from your hand without paying its memory cost, which is Knightmon himself. And then for each other Digimon you have in play, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. Comboing with the new option that lets him restand, if you have Angewomon underneath him and LordKnightmon, you're going to spam out about 8 rookies in 1 turn, or maybe 2 Knightmons and 2 rookies. Boom, your opponent's now facing down a board that they can't possibly handle next turn because it's so wide and big that that's just ridiculous. Then, or even just combo in like Pulsemons just to recoup some of the loss. It gets ridiculous quickly. Then we've talked about Kazuchimon. He's just in here for that multi-security checks, and it just gets nasty. Electric Rush is what makes this deck go crazy. So main phase, one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. Then if you have 3 security cards, unsuspend this Digimon. So this gets ridiculous because after you swing with LordKnightmon, as long as he survives, we'll play this as long as there's 2 memory to benefit from it. Unsuspend him. and then just do it again. This card, it gets ridiculous and allows LordKnightmon to flood the board, or Kazuchimon to just clear out security for really no value, well, no negative repercussions at all. Then we have TK outside deck, shall we? So first off, we have our Mastamons in this deck. This allows us to add a really strong security removal, plus being able to gain defensive or aggro pieces that have been used up. Really does help and suit us very well. We might trash one of our security, but especially going into games where they might have heavy options, being able to trash one in security really does help out. Starmon helps pop memory blockers that they might be spamming out. So because we play so many Reliant pieces to give our accelerants, we need to be able to guarantee that we get them off. So Starmon's to help in here to help that. Then you have Cutemon helping block reducing effects that might help them quick evolve for free or cost nothing. So then you just really just block them out from doing their quick aggro. Especially, it's really in here for that green matchup and shutting it down. And then Sayukamon is to stop opponents' OTK style decks from hiding and raising. So they're not going to be able to, until they remove this Sakuyamon off the board, be able to really get in, digging deep into you. So keep that in mind, that we're not too afraid here. Then let's talk about the aggro style sideboard. This one is more like a smoke screen. We're going to bring in Starmon for the same reason, to help pop memory, you know, blockers, and just remove threats that we might need to lower them down. But also we have Bulkmon in here. So Bulkmon gains, if you're at 3 security, gains an extra security check, so allowing us to have advantage early game, that with the jamming Pulsemon could mean 2 security checks, clearing out house and speeding through. The only time it really does struggle a bit is when we're dealing with cards that are the tamers, and then they can digivolve right on top of immediately. So you have to place cautiously against tamer hybrids. And then we have Eightmon being 8k, 8000 DP. He was likely to survive most swings in, and just clearing out a security and having him be on board threat is really nasty. So keep that in mind. And then we've talked about Electric Rush. He's just adding a couple more into the deck, could speed up your game plan and just push your opponent faster than they were expecting. And that's really the end goal of this. So guys, what do you think of LordKnightmon this set? I know he's a rogue deck, but do you think he's going to compete in the format? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you next video. Peace!